I cradled my son's burning body in my arms as the cold pavement dug into my knees. His breathing was shallow each exhale, more desperate than the last. It was 2 a.m. The hospital had just turned us away again, saying we didn't have the documents or the money. I had called her. My wife. Begged her. Pleaded. She didn't answer. I tried again. Straight to voicemail. I left a message anyway, my voice cracking. Please, our son needs you. Just help him. Help me. But she was too busy that night smiling in selfies, clinking glasses, dancing under soft lights in some fancy restaurant, celebrating her first love's birthday. I saw the pictures, later photos she proudly posted as my son and I were dying on the streets. I looked down at my boy. His lips had turned pale. His tiny fingers were cold. I pulled him tighter to my chest, rocking back and forth, humming that lullaby his mother used to sing before she stopped caring. And then his little chest stopped moving. For a moment, I didn't understand. I stared. I waited. I whispered his name. He didn't respond. The world blurred. The sounds disappeared. I screamed, but it was the kind of scream no one hears. People walked by. Some turned to look, then kept walking. Just a homeless man with a child. Another tragedy no one wanted to get involved in. And as I held my lifeless son in the dark, freezing street, a single notification lit up my phone. A photo. Her arms wrapped around another man. Cake. Candles. Laughter. Caption. With the one who always had my heart. That was the night I stopped being a husband. That was the night I stopped being a father. That was the night I died right there on that cold street. We met at a campus blood donation drive. I was a broke engineering student volunteering for free smacks, and she was there with her medical society, effortlessly commanding the room. She wasn't the loudest or the flashiest, but when she smiled at me as I nervously asked where to sit, I felt something shift. Her name was Sana, beautiful in a quiet, calm way. The kind of beauty that creeps up on you after hours of conversation and kind gestures. We ended up sitting together after the event, eating samosas and laughing about how I nearly fainted. I found out she was studying medicine, had dreams of opening a clinic for underprivileged women. She was ambitious, kind-hearted, and way out of my league. But she chose me. We spent the rest of college as that couple. You know, the ones everyone expects to get married. She loved how simple I was. How I cared more about helping my roommate find a job than scoring grades. I loved how she drearily listened when I talked about my dreams. I wanted to be a software developer, start my own tech firm. She'd touch my arm and say, "I believe in you. You'll make it." Her parents weren't exactly thrilled. I wasn't from a rich background. My father was a retired clerk. My mother passed away when I was young. But I worked part-time, took loans, and eventually landed a junior developer role right after graduation. Sana stood by me through it all. 2 years later, we had a modest wedding, simple but full of love. She cried during our vows, said she felt like the luckiest girl in the world. We moved into a tiny apartment, and every inch of it felt like a palace. I still remember the way she'd dance barefoot in the kitchen while making chai. We made plans, built a savings jar for our dream home, and talked endlessly about what we'd name our future kids. Our son, Ayan, came a year and a half later. Holding him for the first time, I can't even describe it. He was so small, so perfect. And, Somagod, she glowed. Motherhood suited her in a way that softened all her edges. For a while, it felt like everything we'd ever wanted had come true. But somewhere, things started to change. Slowly. She got quiet, irritable, said I worked too much. That I didn't understand her anymore. I tried to adjust, took fewer shifts, spent more time at home, bought her little surprises, planned weekend picnics. She'd smile, but it didn't reach her eyes anymore. Then she started going out without telling me where. Long phone calls in the bathroom, late-night texts she hid the moment I walked in. I asked her, gently. I didn't accuse, just asked. She said she was just tired, that she needed space. I believed her, because that's what you do when you've built a life with someone. You trust, you hope, you give them room to breathe, believing they'll return to you. My father, who had grown close to Sana, once said, "Beta, sometimes love is not about passion. It's about standing by someone when the passion fades." I held on to that. For Ayan. For our vows. For everything we had. Little did I know, while I was holding our family together, she was already building a new world, one where we no longer existed. It started with silence. Not the kind that follows an argument. This was deeper. Colder. Like someone had turned down the volume on our lives. Sana no longer looked at me when she spoke. Her good mornings were mumbled. Her hugs grew brief, robotic. At first, I blamed myself. I thought maybe the stress of balancing work and fatherhood had made me inattentive. Maybe she felt alone. I suggested we go out, just the two of us. She said she was tired. I proposed counseling. She scoffed. "You think I need therapy because I'm not smiling all the time." So I focused on Ayan. He had just turned 2. Bright, curious, always clinging to my leg while I typed away on my laptop. His laughter was the only music left in that house. One night, I found her sitting on the balcony in the dark, whispering into her phone. When she saw me, she jumped. The phone dropped to her lap, screen face down. "Who were you talking to?" I asked gently. She glared. "Can't I have one private moment to myself?" "I didn't mean to." "Of course you didn't," she snapped, grabbing her phone and storming inside. I stood there, numb. That night, she didn't come to bed. A week later, I noticed a new password on her phone. She had never kept it locked before. The next sign came in the form of perfume. Not hers. A different scent. Faint, masculine, unfamiliar. Her clothes smelled like it after she returned from a study group she claimed to be leading at the hospital. And then came the lie that shattered everything. It was a Friday. I came home early from work, hoping to surprise her. The house was empty. Ayan was with my father for the evening, so I waited, eager to maybe cook dinner and really talk. She didn't come home until past midnight. When she walked in, her lipstick was smudged, her earrings missing. She looked stunned to see me. I asked where she'd been. She froze. The hospital. Emergency shift. But her hospital ID was still hanging on the coat rack. I didn't say anything. Just nodded, went into the kitchen, and poured myself a glass of water with trembling hands. That night, I didn't sleep. My heart wouldn't let me. The next morning, while she was in the shower, I opened her laptop. She never logged out of her email. What I found felt like swallowing fire. A long thread of messages. Between her and someone saved only a Z red heart. "Last night was amazing, just like old times. I miss how you hold me. He never made me feel like this. Can't wait until we're free." There were photos too. Hotel rooms. His hand on her waist. Her in dresses I'd never seen before. Z. Her first love. The one she had told me about during college. The one who broke her heart years ago. I thought he was a closed chapter. Apparently, he was just on pause. I closed the laptop and sat in silence. My hands trembled, but my eyes remained dry. Not because it didn't hurt, but because the pain was too vast, too consuming to produce tears. I confronted her the next day. She didn't deny it. Didn't even flinch. Her expression was cold, distant. Like I was a stranger making wild accusations. "It just happened," she said with a shrug. "I didn't plan it. You told me he was toxic, that he humiliated you. I was young then. People change." I stood there, shaking, staring at the woman I had sacrificed everything for. "And us? What about our family?" She sighed. "You were always so safe, so predictable. But I don't feel alive with you anymore." Safe. That's what I was to her. I tried to hold things together for Ayan, but the damage was done. She became a ghost in our house. There but not present. Always distracted. Always checking her phone. Then came the final blow. One morning I woke up to find her gone. No note. No goodbye. Nothing. Just silence. I called her family. Her friends. No one knew anything more, so they claimed. I later learned she had moved in temporarily with a friend closer to the city. That friend was Z. Bills began to pile up. The joint account we'd been saving in was empty. I couldn't pay rent. I had to sell my laptop, my only source of income at the time, to afford medicine for Ayan, who had developed a chest infection. I called her. Told her our son was sick. That I didn't have money for his hospital visit. She said she'd send something. She never did. Ayan's condition worsened. I took him to the local clinic, but they turned us away. I pleaded, begged. He needs antibiotics. Just look at him. The nurse looked sympathetic but firm. We're sorry. No ID, no insurance, no service. So I walked the streets that night, holding my sick child, trying to find help. The sky was cold. My wallet was empty. And my heart, it was already broken. That was the night everything fell apart. Grief had hollowed me out. For days I wandered aimlessly, Ayan's final breath haunting every second. I didn't eat. I didn't sleep. The street corner where he died was now a graveyard in my mind. But somewhere beneath the numbness, a fire started to burn. She let our son die. She abandoned us. For what? Nostalgia? Lust? Selfies and living her soft life with the man who once shattered her, now her forever. No. This wouldn't end like that. Not quietly, not mercifully. She thought I was predictable, safe. She was about to learn just how wrong she was. I started by gathering everything. Screenshots of her emails. The financial transfer she made from our joint account to hers. Records of her abandoning our child's medical needs. Voice messages where she ignored my pleas. All of it collected and time-stamped. I even contacted the clinic that turned Ayan away and got a signed letter stating he was denied treatment due to lack of insurance she had removed from us 3 months prior without telling me. I also found Z's employer. He worked as a public relations consultant for a luxury brand. The kind of valued image above all else. Perfect. Step 1. I sent an anonymous tip-along with photos and love notes from their affair directly to his firm. I posed as a journalist investigating a medical negligence case involving a woman who abandoned her dying son to party with her lover. The email included links to her social media, a file with Ayan's death certificate, and a pointed question: do you really want this scandal tied to your public face? He was suspended within a week. Step 2. I went legal. Quietly. I filed a wrongful death petition against her, naming medical neglect, financial abandonment, and emotional cruelty as contributing factors. The lawyer I found was the brother of a man I once helped get a job. When he heard the story, he took the case pro bono. Said, "We'll make sure people know exactly what she did." The court ordered her to appear. She didn't show up the first time. The second time, she arrived late with sunglasses and a smug expression. That smirk vanished when she saw the evidence. The judge reviewed the financial transfers, the clinic's testimony, the emails, the texts, the photo of my son wrapped in my coat the night he died. Her lawyer tried to play the emotional distress card, said she wasn't in her right mind, that she was overwhelmed, that I should have asked for help from other family members. I stood up, slowly, and faced the courtroom. I begged her, I said, voice calm but shaking. I begged her. She ignored me. She ignored her own son. She didn't just walk away from me, she walked away from him, and while I held his dying body in my arms, she was holding champagne. Silence. Even the judge looked shaken. The court didn't award monetary compensation. I never expected it to. But the public record of her negligence? That was worth more. She lost her medical license 6 weeks later. A complaint had been anonymously submitted complete with court records and testimony. She was temporarily suspended pending investigation, which in that field might as well be permanent. But I wasn't finished. I wanted her to feel it, the way I felt it, so I created a blog titled "The Night My Son Died While His Mother Danced, I Told the Whole Story, from start to finish." Names redacted, identities protected, but not so protected that people couldn't piece it together if they knew her. I posted photos not of her but of Ian, of our old apartment, of the clinic's front door, on the street corner where we sat that final night. The blog went viral. Thousands shared it. Mothers wept. Fathers wrote to me. People offered to donate. Some even recognized her. She deleted all her social media soon after. I heard through someone mutual that Z left her, said he didn't sign up for all this drama. Typical. She tried to contact me once. A single text. "Can we talk?" I didn't think it would go this far. I didn't reply. Some things don't deserve closure. It's been a year since Ian left this world. Some nights, I still wake up reaching for him, half expecting to hear his soft breathing beside me. But the bed is always empty. The apartment is still quiet. Loss like this never truly fades. It just reshapes you. In the beginning, I lived for revenge. Each plan, each document, each word I wrote in that blog was fueled by rage. But eventually, something shifted. My pain had already carved me open. And through that space, something else began to grow, not bitterness, but purpose. I started volunteering at a shelter for single fathers. Men like me, blindsided by betrayal and left picking up the pieces. I'd sit with them, listen to their stories, sometimes cry with them. One man told me, "Just hearing your story made me feel like I'm not crazy." That was the first time I felt useful again. I went back to writing not just about my pain, but about healing. About fatherhood. About how love can be sacred and brutal in the same breath. My blog became something bigger letters for Ian. Every post, every word was for him. And through those letters, I found pieces of myself again. One afternoon, while walking past a park, I saw a little boy with curly hair chasing a balloon. He laughed just like Ian. For a moment, my breath caught. And then I smiled not with sadness, but with gratitude. Ian was gone, yes, but what he left behind in me was eternal. As for Sana, I don't check on her anymore. I don't care where she is, who she's with, or what she's lost, because I stopped needing to see her suffer. That's not strength. That's not healing. That's still being chained to the past. My revenge wasn't the court case. It wasn't the suspension. It wasn't even the blog. The real revenge was this. I survived. I stood back up when life tried to bury me. I turned my pain into purpose. And I built a life she could never poison again. Today, I lit a candle for Ian. I whisper his name into the wind. And I keep walking forward with him in my heart and my head held high.